Why don't you go ahead and start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jim Sisko. I'm a trumpet player and a teacher in the Seattle area. Been here most of my life, born in Billings, Montana, but moved over as a little kid. Been playing and teaching on the scene for a long time, since 1997 or so. I'm also the director of the instrumental music program at Bellevue College, where I run the big bands and the combos, teach history of rock, history of jazz, and I just really love teaching, and that's where I've moved the most of my focus in the last 7 to 8 years, a little bit away from playing and more into teaching.
How does that feel? Do you prefer the performing or the teaching part?
I mean, I love both, but I've had so many incredible experiences playing around the world and in the scene that I don't feel like I'm missing a whole bunch, and in fact, I really love having an impact on people from a musical education perspective. It thrills me to see people climb and climb and climb and get joy out of playing music day in, day out, so that's where I really get my love for music from.
Is it mostly the undergrad students that you're working with, or do you work with students of all ages still?
We work with students of all ages. I mean, in my big band alone, I've got running start students at age 17, and I've got some people that are members of the community, 40 plus. In fact, one guy's a trombonist, and he's a 30-year public school educator, but playing in the band. So it's a wide range of people that we work with.
So you teach the big band. Do you only play trumpet, or do you play other instruments?
Yeah, I'm just primarily a trumpet player. Of course, I play all the different types, flugelhorn, cornet, piccolo, all various keyed trumpets, but yeah, I'm primarily a trumpet player.
Okay, and how did you land on that instrument?
You know, strangely enough, it was when I was a little kid, I saw people bringing instruments back to class, and I wasn't part of a beginning band, and I thought, man, that really looks cool to me, and I wanted to get into it. And I also had one of those moments in life where I was this close from quitting. We had a new band director come into my middle school, and my mom said, I heard this guy's a great trumpet player, and let's say if we get you a couple lessons with him and see if you get turned around. And that was it. First lesson, I was hooked. I just got with a master teacher and player, and this guy set me on a path of wanting to play and teach for a living. So it was just one of those sort of weird moments in time when you could go one way and go another, and I'm forever thankful that my mom pushed me into, you know, getting into some music lessons, and then that just powered me through in life.
It was your first instrument that you tried, and it just kind of worked out for you, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice, yeah. So I started on flute, then I went to piano and saxophone, and finally landed on drums, and that's really my passion. But it took me a little while to actually figure out what I wanted to play. Or, you know, I still play the other instruments, but it's really, that's what I enjoy doing.
Well, so the combination of both of our experiences, what I feel is really important about what we're doing here at practicingmusician.com. It's that you have an opportunity to try all these instruments. And if the first one doesn't stick, it doesn't mean you're not musically inclined. It just means that maybe you haven't resonated with that instrument. So that's sort of the beauty of having access to all these different instruments.
You started when you were, fifth grade, junior high?
Yeah, sixth grade.
Sixth grade. You knew right away that you wanted to become a performer and teacher.
Not necessarily. I was just kind of doing the thing, you know, a kid amongst the sea of students, finding your way. And then I got a little bit of help, and I started to sort of see my skill set really rise. And then I was able to really make a pretty significant individual impact. And then our bands were awesome, and our teachers were super engaging, and so I started having a ton of fun playing music, where I was just kind of coasting along for a while there. Once I started to see the potential in myself as a player, that's when I thought, well, might be something that I might want to pursue as a player or as a teacher.
Tell me a little bit more about your history as just going through your own music education.
Sure. Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, I had some great teachers along the way, and when I committed to studying music, I went to Central Washington University, state college in the state, known for their big band and their jazz program, but also really a remarkable program across the board, orchestral and band and such. And I had some great teachers, and I made a commitment to try to be a player and a teacher. I never really wanted to be a public school teacher. I was always really focused on individual instruction and other stuff like that. But I kind of got a few great breaks as a player early on, and ended up taking some time away from school to do some touring with some big bands and some recording work. And after a couple of years of working and being on the road, I came back and finished my undergrad degree and a master's as well in performance, and then just made my way to Seattle back, which was my home, and set up a private studio and committed to working and playing around the region as much as I could.
Take a step back from music now and just talk a little bit about some of your favorite things to do outside of the art form.
I have a family. I've got 2 beautiful kids and a wife, and I'm blessed with that. So, you know, spending time with my family is a huge priority for me, and it keeps me centered as a person. And then I like to play sports. I love to play golf. I played golf as a kid. Almost went to college to play golf and chose the music career otherwise. So I've gotten back into that, and I like playing competitively.
What things do you hate doing? Are there like you just don't want to do it, but you kind of have to sometimes?
I'm a 90%er sometimes when it comes to like stuff at the house, you know. Working on your yard, I do a bunch of pruning of the trees, and I just can't quite finish it. So my battle constantly is like finishing the job. So I mean, you know, I think just chores around the house is a drag.
We talked about this a little bit, but why are you? Maybe elaborate a little bit more about why you're excited to be here with Practicing Musician.
Well, I think that if you look, people who want help starting off in instruments, you look around and you try to find what are the resources that I can get at. And particularly for a lot of people, finances can be a barrier. So then the first thing you do is they go to web resources, and basically everything's so spread out everywhere, you know. And the quality of the information that you're getting is not necessarily vetted. You don't really have any knowledge of how, what the resources are. So I like that the team gathered at Practicing Musician is professional players and educators, and there's a real consistent curriculum, and it's well organized. You know, you can come in where you need to based on your skill level, and then you can get access to these private lessons from professional educators and professional players that you can't always know that the resource you're getting online is trusted. And that's what I like here. It's just well organized, and the people that are teaching are people I trust and believe in.
Oh, it's just been such a pleasure to be working with everybody. You know, I teach drum lessons, and I've taught a little bit here and there, but I didn't go to school for music, and I can even tell just watching you guys give the lessons that I know the information, but you guys have a delivery and a way about you that's just, you just know it so well, and you're so certain that this is the exact way that it should be taught, and it's really nice to be able to see that.
You can deliver something with confidence, but it is important to remember that it may not always be the exact way, that there are alternate paths to learning, you know, and that's something that's really important from an educational component, is that everybody understands that we all learn differently, and that there are some core things that I know we're providing at practicingmusician.com that are essential to moving forward. But it's also important for people to remember that there is a different path in life too. So at least we've got a core content that will really keep you on the path and keep you moving forward. It's valuable to understand that we all absorb things in different ways, and it takes us longer to learn some things than others. So don't get hung up on the fact that you may get stuck on a lesson or two for a while. That's part of the process, you know. And as a musician, you're going to find yourself doing this and this and this and this
yes.
and this and this. And some of these plateaus can be quite lengthy. So, you know, don't let it get you down. You'll find the next step up if you keep moving.
It kind of goes along with what you were saying about art is, even as a teacher, you probably are going to get criticism about the way that you're teaching.
If I thought I had all the answers, I'd be doing something else. I'm in education because I'm constantly learning. And I pass on to my students the best of my knowledge. But I don't have all the answers. And if I said I would, I'd be lying. I'm constantly learning from people that I get to sit in and play with, and that I get to take lessons from too. That's what teaching is about. Sharing what you know and being open to criticism and being open to learning. The minute you stop learning is the minute you quit progressing.